Good evening. Today is Saturday the 24th of March 2001. Welcome to Radio 4's PM News at 5:30 with me, Alan Ripoff. Tonight's main headlines. We interrupt this programme with an important news flash. Persuading people a 13th century document has some relevance to them is frankly quite hard. This weekend at Buckingham Palace they need no convincing after the visit of 4 modern-day barons, the Duke of Rutland, Viscount Masserine and Ferrard, Lord Ashbourne and Lord Hamilton of Dalzell. The peers are trying to use provisions in the Magna Carta of 1215 to persuade the Queen to withhold the royal assent from a bill, seeking to ratify the Treaty of Nice. They say any measure which allows closer integration with Europe conflicts with the oath the Queen made on Coronation Day, as well as the Magna Carta and the Declaration and Bill of Rights. The Magna Carta is particularly relevant since one of its clauses, Article 61, allows a quorum of 25 barons to send 4 of their number to petition the monarch on an issue they feel strongly about. If the Queen does not respond satisfactorily within 40 days, the people are incited to rise against her to press the issue. Lord Hamilton of Dalzell explained his mission to PM, and the constitutional lawyer Richard Ramsay explained how the Magna Carta was still relevant, but probably would not cause the government much concern in this particular case. PM News will keep you informed of developments on this important constitutional matter, but for now, this concludes our news flash. Back to today's other news. At this point in your evening, you would of course be wondering if the Queen will actually respond within those 40 days. And what would the reply say? It also makes you wonder if a TV news presenter had appeared on a TV news programme and told you, along with millions of others, what you've just heard. There's no knowing how different life might be right now. Of course, that is exactly why it didn't take place on TV. But it was major constitutional news. Protocols dictate that the nation, and indeed the Commonwealth, if not the whole world, had to lawfully be informed of its content. So, for a moment, put yourself in the shoes of those who don't want you to know the importance of this news. You must, by constitutional protocol, inform the nation. You have many TV channels and the young internet is at your disposal. But you want to keep the news low-key while simultaneously keeping to constitutional protocols and making the information accessible to the whole nation. Consider for a moment, what would you do? Let me help you answer this by telling you exactly what actually happened. First, you select a broadsheet newspaper, which are predominantly read by middle-class white-collar professionals. You select the Daily Telegraph, which is a daily readership of 1 million people. Then you place this important news in a small article near the middle of page 5, probably determined by the prime place where people have begun to switch off. Then, the next day, you select a radio programme on a channel which at the time was getting around 9 million listeners per week. The programme selected has a Saturday tea time slot with a weekly audience of below 1 million people. If this is what you would have done, then congratulations, you have successfully notified around 2 million people from the whole of Britain about a major constitutional event. The majority of those people wouldn't have paid any attention to it, and the remainder, no doubt, assumed it was just some silly old lords with nothing better to do. You've successfully kept the real news well and truly under the radar to the majority of the population, whilst officially proclaiming it to the nation. You've done your job well. And that, my friends, that is how you dupe the population into not knowing the true and constitutional rights, and the processes it commands. Compare that with how prominently and repeatedly you were informed of changes to the legal system, never more noticeable than in the last 2 years. You wouldn't see changes to COVID guidelines delivered in the same manner. Which is how most of you will still be duped today, 20 years later, and no doubt some of you will remain duped even though you have now been fully informed. I hope inside some of you are screaming out, "No more!" No one likes to be lied to, and no one likes to be made a fool of. It's time to reclaim your true lawful rights, not those rights that many think were given them by a previous or better government, but those to which you're entitled to, for eternity. Whether you realise it or not, you are currently standing under a treasonous and tyrannical government, one that seeks to take away your freedoms along with your sovereignty, that your parents, your grandparents, and perhaps even your great-grandparents fought hard and some paid dearly to protect you from. I'm going to leave you with Alan Ripoff reading the Telegraph article to you. It's going to go into better detail than the BBC publication, but as you will see, it is aligned with everything contained within it. Links to these articles and a whole range of information is available at Practical Lawful Dissent too. Do come and join us. It's time to right the wrongs. Together, we are the only solution. 4 peers invoked ancient rights under the Magna Carta yesterday to petition the Queen to block closer integration with Europe. The Duke of Rutland, Viscount Masserine of Ferrard, Lord Hamilton of Dalzell and Lord Ashbourne were imbued with the spirit of the ancient charter, thrust on King John in 1215. In accordance with the Charter's Clause 61, the famous enforcement clause, the 4 presented a vellum parchment at Buckingham Palace declaring that the ancient rights and freedoms of the British people had to be defended. The clause, one of the most important in the Charter, which was pressed on King John at Runnymede, allows subjects of the realm to present a quorum of 25 barons with a petition, which 4 of their number then have to take to the monarch, who must accept it. It was last used in 1688 at the start of the Glorious Revolution. The 4 peers, who were all thrown out of Parliament in November 1999, proved they had that quorum by presenting Sir Robin Janvrin, the Queen's private secretary, with the petition signed by 28 hereditaries and letters of support from another 60. In addition, they claim the support of thousands of members of the public. They say that several articles in the Treaty of Nice agreed by Tony Blair in December will fundamentally destroy British liberties. The Queen has 40 days to respond under the Magna Carta's provisions. If the sovereign does not observe the Charter, the people may rise up and wage war on her, seizing castles, lands and possessions, until they have redress.